Nearly everyone cried at the end of Coco. I did. The song, the photo, the old woman finally remembering her father. And almost nobody noticed that the person who nearly causes the saddest death in the movie is the same person the film spent 2 hours teaching you to love. Mamá Imelda, the fierce little matriarch in the purple dress, the wronged wife who got abandoned by a selfish musician, rolled up her sleeves and banned music, and built a family out of shoes and willpower. The backbone, the one who was right all along. That's the hero you remember, and that memory is a lie. The movie tells you so out loud in its own climax. You just felt too good in that moment to notice. The woman everyone remembers as the victim is the reason the real victim, her own murdered husband, nearly gets erased forever. Héctor never abandoned her, he was murdered trying to come home to her. And the instant she's told that to her face, she answers like this.
And so what if it's true?
This channel pulls apart the story a movie is actually telling underneath the one you remember watching. And Coco is hiding a much harder story than the warm one you cried to. One thing before we start, because it's the whole game, I'm not telling you Imelda is the villain of this film. The movie has a villain and it names him on a stage in front of a screaming crowd. That's Ernesto de la Cruz. He did the killing, the poison, the theft, the corpse in the sinkhole. This isn't a hero swap, it's something quieter and meaner. The hero you remember and the woman on screen are not the same person. Coco builds the lie before you've ever met anyone. The very first thing the film narrates to you as established fact is the story of a musician who walked out. Miguel tells his own family origin like gospel, and listen to how the words are loaded.
And one day, he left with his guitar and never returned.
And as for the woman he left behind,
she didn't have time to cry over that walk-away musician.
That phrase, walk-away musician, is the entire case against Héctor. He walked away. He picked fame over wife and baby. You're maybe 90 seconds into the movie and you already have a villain filed in your head, fully formed before you've met a single living character. And you didn't choose that. The film hands it to you. 4 generations later, that story has hardened into family law. When little Miguel even gets near the subject, the rule snaps out automatically.
Never mention that man. He's better off forgotten.
And the film shows you what forgotten looks like before anyone even explains it. That family photo on the ofrenda has Imelda in the center, baby Coco in her arms, and Héctor's face torn clean out of the frame. They didn't lose him. Somebody erased him on purpose and kept the photo with the hole in it for generations. That's a verdict against him. And here's the tell. The family is enforcing a story they openly admit that they can't back up.
But whoever he was, he still abandoned his family.
They know almost nothing about him. They've decided he's guilty anyway, and that's a sentence handed down with no trial. And the Riveras have been carrying it out for 90 years, to the point where Abuelita will smash a child's guitar to splinters in the street rather than let one note of music back into the family. And notice who keeps the sentence in force. When Miguel needs Imelda's blessing to go home, she grants it, with a string attached.
I give you my blessing to go home, to put my photo back on the ofrenda, and to never play music again.
Grief doesn't negotiate terms. She's using her authority to extend a rule about the living. And when Miguel won't take the deal, she gets blunt about what the rule is really guarding against.
I will not let you go down the same path he did.
Watch the rest of the family while she says it. Nobody steps in. Nobody softens it. A whole room of dead Riveras stand there and just let the matriarch's word be law because in this family, it always has been. So before the big reveal even lands, the two things are locked in. The family's entire story about Héctor is he abandoned us, and Imelda is the one enforcing that story like law. Hold on to both of those because the movie is about to prove the story false, standing right in front of her. To see what's really happening, you need one rule from this movie's world, and it's the rule everything turns on. When a skeleton named Chicharrón fades to nothing right in front of Héctor and Miguel, Héctor explains what just happened.
When there's no one left in the living world who remembers you, you disappear from this world. We call it the final death.
So in Coco, being forgotten isn't sad, it's fatal. It's the only way a dead person can actually die permanently, and memory isn't something you keep on your own. Héctor's clear that the stories have been passed down by people who knew you in life. One living person stops telling your story and you're gone. Now connect it to Héctor himself. Who's the one living person still holding on to him?
But she's the last person who remembers me. The moment she's gone from the living world,
You disappear from this one.
That's Coco, the little girl from the legend, now ancient and fading. By the third act, she is the single thread keeping Héctor from final death, one old woman's failing memory and nothing else. If she forgets him first, he's erased forever. So the films told you two things and counted on you not connecting them to Imelda. Forgetting equals death, and Coco's memory is the last thread Héctor hangs on. And there's a character in this movie who tried to cut that exact thread on purpose, and she tells you so herself. The confrontation comes the second Imelda fishes Héctor out of a sinkhole, hauls him up onto the rooftop on her spirit jaguar, and rounds on him, furious at him for existing. And she fires off a line that should have tipped everyone off.
I spent decades protecting my family from your mistakes.
Mistakes. We're about to learn that Héctor's mistake was getting poisoned by his best friend while trying to get back to her. She's calling his murder his fault, and she's been calling it that for 90 years. Then in that same confrontation, talking about the decades after he vanished, she admits her plan.
I wanted to forget you. I wanted Coco to forget you too.
Set that second sentence next to the rule the movie just spent an hour teaching you. Making Coco forget Héctor isn't just a feeling. In this world's own physics, it's the mechanism of final death. And Coco isn't some random rememberer. She's the last one. So Imelda isn't confessing to a grudge here. She's confessing to the exact method that nearly kills Héctor in the climax. The thing that almost erases him forever in Act 3 is the exact thing she always wanted. And I won't oversell this. Imelda isn't standing on the land of the dead trying to murder a ghost. When she says she wanted Coco to forget him, she's describing a wish she formed back in life. A grieving wife walling off the man who, as far as she knew, walked out. The film never shows her tying that specific grudge to Héctor's fading, and the thing actually dissolving him in Act 3 is Coco's old age, not some Imelda scheme. But the math doesn't need her to. The rule says erasure by your last rememberer is final death. Coco is the last rememberer, and making Coco forget Héctor is the one thing Imelda says out loud that she wanted. She didn't have to intend it. The story already built the irony for her, which leaves the defense exactly one card to play. She relents. She helps in the end. It's the best objection there is, and the film times it against her. This is the objection as strong as it gets. In that same scene, she comes around. She softens. She literally says it.
I can't forgive you, but I will help you.
She sings to save the day. She reconciles with Héctor by the end, and that part's real. By the final act, these two genuinely rekindle, and that love is not a fake out. So how dare anyone call that woman who fixes everything anything but a hero? I'd believe that. Except the movie won't let me. The order of events is the whole answer. Right before she relents, Miguel and Héctor hand her the full truth. He didn't abandon her. He was murdered trying to get home to her.
Try to go home to you and Coco, but De La Cruz murdered him.
It's true, Imelda.
This is the instant her entire 90-year story collapses. The deadbeat she built her life around never existed. Héctor was killed coming back to her. Two witnesses, one of them the victim. This is the moment for the hero to break. But watch what she actually does.
And so what if it's true? You leave me alone with a child to raise and I'm just supposed to forgive you?
Now give her the strongest version of her defense. 90 years she believed one thing and she held it through death itself. You don't turn a belief that old around in a single sentence. Maybe the so what is just shock. The noise a person makes when the floor drops out and the truth hasn't caught up to them yet. Call it first action denial. We'd forgive anyone that. But denial has a specific sound, and this isn't it. Denial says, you're lying. Denial says, he did leave. What she says is, so what? She lets the murder stand and sweeps it off the table in the same breath. That's a woman who heard it, believed it enough to argue back, and ruled it besides the point. And catch where she runs the second she's granted it. Straight to her own ledger. She charges him with leaving.
You leave me alone with a child to raise and I'm just supposed to forgive you?
Present tense, like he's still doing it. Like it was still his choice. When told he didn't leave, that he was killed coming home, she keeps the grievance and drops the fact. Because the grievance is the one she spent 90 years on. The truth doesn't move her, and not because it can't reach her, because she won't give up the thing it costs her. And that's the line between shock and stubbornness. Shock fades. Stubbornness digs in. The truer it gets, the harder she holds. Watch how long she holds it. When Héctor's body gives out right in front of her, he collapses mid-sentence. She cries his name. She gasps. She's not made of stone. The man dissolving on the ground in front of her is still the man she once loved. But watch what actually pulls the decision out of her. It's one word.
I'm running out of time. It's Coco.
She's forgetting you.
And there's the saddest machine in the whole movie, humming right over the song you remember. A man going out like a candle, not because anyone stabbed him, but because the one living mind still holding his face is finally letting it slip. Their daughter, forgetting her own father by inches in a chair in the next world over. Imelda watches that land and says it out loud herself. Her eyes go wide and the words come out of her own mouth. That is the moment she moves, not the truth she was handed, the threat to her family that she names for herself. And even as she agrees, look at how she does it. She opens negotiations.
Miguel, if we help you get his photo, you will return home. No more music.
She sets her price. Miguel goes home, the music band stays, her conditions get met. She even names the real motive. Family comes first, not justice, not the murder, family. And the help comes wrapped in a refusal she says out loud.
I can't forgive you, but I will help you.
That sentence everyone remembers as her redemption is literally a denial. She grants help but withholds forgiveness. She'll move her feet, but she won't move her heart. She helps despite the truth, not because of it. And if you think the grudge melts the second it's all over, the film hands you the receipt at the Dela Cruz showdown. By now, she's accepted the murder so completely she physically attacks the murderer for it.
That's for murdering the love of my life!
Full knowledge, full belief. She's avenging Hector with a flying boot, and seconds later, when Hector asks if she's really the love of her life,
I'm the love of your life.
I don't know, I'm still angry at you.
she knows he was murdered. She just avenged him, and she is still angry with the victim. That's the tell that the so what was never shock. Shock can't survive its own revenge. Now, the love does come back. They reunite and the film means it. But look at how late it arrives and how hard she fights it. She'll swing at his killer and resent the corpse in the same minute, and the warmth only wins after she runs out of reasons to hold the line. The grudge outlived the truth, exactly like she told us the second she had it. So what if it's true? There is one objection that almost redeemed her for me. For the decades that actually mattered, the 90 years of forced forgetting, Imelda didn't know about the murder. She genuinely believed he walked out. You can't put a woman on trial for decisions she made without the facts. Fine, I'll grant the whole thing. Grant that for 90 years she believed Hector abandoned her. There's no moment in this film where she bans music while secretly knowing he was murdered. For the decades, the ignorance is real, and it mitigates a lot. But the theory doesn't need those 90 years, because the film does something cleaner than I ever could. It stages the exact second the ignorance ends.
It's true, Imelda.
That line is the cutoff. Before it, you can argue she didn't know. After it, she knows. And the movie puts her decision right there, 2 lines later, where you cannot miss it. That's the whole ballgame. I don't have to prosecute the 90 years. The film hands me the 1 second where not knowing turns into knowing, and shows me what she does with it. She doesn't deny it. She weighs his murder against her own grievance out loud and keeps the grievance. So the she didn't know defense actually sharpens the blade. The 1 second we get to watch her holding the truth is the second she decides her injury still outranks his, and she still matters more. And yes, before anyone says it, Hector left to play music. He wasn't a flawless saint. That's true, and it doesn't matter, because the theory was never Hector is perfect. His flaw doesn't transfer the murder onto him, and it doesn't make her post-truth refusal okay. The film weighs them for you. He died trying to come home. She, knowing that, kept choosing to erase him. Dela Cruz poisoned Hector 90 years ago, and the campaign to erase him from the only person keeping him alive, that's Imelda's, by her own confession. One man killed him in life. One grudge nearly finished the job in death. And unlike Dela Cruz, Imelda kept her grip on that grudge after she'd been told the whole thing was built on a lie. So the hero we all remember, the vindicated righteous matriarch, is a flattering edit of a woman who heard the truth and said, so what? Which means the real question isn't even about Imelda. It's about us. Because the movie never hid any of this. It put, and so what if it's true, in its own climax, at full volume, and we cheered through it anyway. We took a tragic, grief-warped woman and sanded her down into a hero because the ending was warm and she sang and everybody hugged. Coco is more honest about Imelda than your memory of Coco is. And the film keeps telling you, in pictures, what the grudge actually is. Watch where it keeps putting her. When Miguel wriggles through an iron gate to get away from her, she's stopped cold on the other side of it, gripping the bars while he slips through, framed for a beat, exactly like a woman locked in a cell. And it's right there at the gate, boxed in the bars, that she finally sings him her side of the story. The movie is coding her the whole time. The band isn't a fortress she's protecting the family inside of. It's a prison she built around herself, and she's the one locked inside of it. And that's the cruelest knot in the whole film. This is a movie whose entire moral is don't let people you love get flattened into a lie and forgotten. Remember them as they actually were. And the audience walked out and did the exact opposite to Imelda. We remember the version that's easier to love. We forget the one on screen. Watch that ending again with that lens and it stops being just sweet. When she finally gives the blessing with no strings,
You have our blessing, Miguel.
No conditions.
that's not a tidy bow. That's a 90-year wound letting go one night too late to save Hector's photo, which is already lost. The home filling with music isn't just a happy montage. It's the family quietly undoing her entire life's project. The band was never the shield she called it. It was the slow knife. That doesn't make her a monster. Cruz keeps that title, he pulled the trigger, and the love between her and Hector really does come back. The film lets the two of them find each other again, and it earns that reunion. But it does make her the saddest person in the movie. The wronged hero whose grudge outlived the truth and almost outlived the man it was aimed at, who got the love back only after it nearly cost her everything. The film forgave her, and I think it earned that, but forgiving her and remembering her as righteous are two completely different things. And Coco is a movie about owing people the real version. So here's what this theory actually does to the film. Coco isn't a story about honoring family, it's a story about a family that revered the one member who poisoned the well and erased the one who never wronged them, and only got the happy ending by undoing her in spite of her. Watch it again and the remember me the whole thing cries over stops being a gentle theme and becomes the antidote, a thing the hero was doing on purpose. And thank you so much for watching. If this changed how you see her, go ahead and subscribe, and tell me in the comments whether you'd fish Hector out of a sinkhole or leave him in there a little longer. YouTube doesn't really hold grudges like Imelda, and it's lined up something it thinks you'll really like next, so go check it out.